Welcome back to the workshop on a cold and wet Thursday here in Perth. Winter's definitely here now. Early part of towards the end of autumn, early part of winter. Temperatures were pretty high and it was beautiful. But yeah, this week we've had like a cold front come through with lots of rain and cold weather. But I'm not complaining. I'm in the workshop, nice and dry. But this video is about tapering tangs on knives. Now, a couple of months back, I did a video on drilling the handle holes on a taper tang knife. So I kind of thought I'd better do an actual video on how I taper the tangs before you drill them. So how do we go about tapering a tang on a knife handle? Basically, you got to grind each side at a slight angle. Now, there's a few steps you go through before you actually start grinding, which makes the process a lot easier. I did start grinding this one, and then I stopped and thought I actually haven't done a video on tapering tangs, so took my mask off and I'm gonna basically ignore that and look at that side. So this is how the knife would start. I've blacked the end just with a black texture marker pen, and I've got my little scribe thing. I don't know what this is actually called, a sliding scribe. I don't know, but I got it off of, I think it's either AliExpress or Temu, one of those, but works really well. It's got a little roller wheel there and a tungsten scribing point. So once you've blacked the end of the blade up, you can basically just put that on there, roll it along, and it will leave your little scribe line on there. Now let's try and get that to focus so you can see that there. So what do we do first? Once we scribe the lines, then we've got to grind to that line. So if you can see, is that going to focus? So you can see I've done it on this side already. So I've took a foil grip belt and ground up to the scribe line. So I'll do both sides and we'll head to the grind. I'll do both sides and then we'll go through the next step on the process prior to actually starting to taper it. So we'll head to the grinder and I shall grind that other side. Alright, so as you can see, I've ground both sides there now. So next up, we've got to hollow out this part of the tang on both sides. Now, what it does, it basically gives you, once you've hollowed it out, it gives you two raised areas with the removed area in the middle, and it just makes it. It's probably two reasons you do it. You can see when you're grinding it, you can actually see if you take going on one side or the other too much, and also, once you've removed the piece out the middle there, you're only basically grinding a thin strip on each side of the knife, so the material gets removed a lot quicker. You probably don't have to do it, but I just think it just speeds the process up, and it just gives you that little kind of extra little guide to where you're grinding. So we'll head back to the grinder and we shall hollow out this centre part. So I've got a nice new 36 grip belt on the grinder there. You always want to use sort of newish belts doing this, because if you're trying to use a worn belt, it tends to not cut and you end up sort of with the blade as you're trying to put that line in the middle there. It's basically like putting a fuller in a knife blade. If you're not cutting, it can skate around and you don't want to go up too high. So nice sharp belt cuts through it nice and quick. So we've got that side done, and just flip it over to the other side now. All right, let me just get a bit of rag. Where are we? Okay, so we got both sides hollowed out there. Now, obviously, you don't want to go too close here, where you know past where your handle scales are going to fit. So I know that if I stop at that first pinhole, then I'm still well within distance. I'm not going to end up going too far. So we've got both sides done. Again, up to the pin. And what I've done is I've gone virtually up to the little scribe line where I did that little chamfer. I've gone virtually. You can just see there's a little tiny bit there, and the same that side. Focus. There's a little tiny bit there. You can still see the chamfer mark. And so once you start tapering the tang, you start grinding that back. Then eventually you'll get that, and that will just disappear. So you don't want to go too. You don't want to go too deep with the this kind of recess area, and go too thin. Then you'd have to obviously grind the tang down even further past your set point there. So grind up to your grind marks, nice and neat, accurate. All right, so now we can start actually tapering the tang. What I use is I've got this big welding magnet, and I can put that on there like that, and that gives you a nice solid grip on there, and it doesn't slide because it's a strong magnet. The blade won't slip off. Good magnet, and onto the grinder on the 36 grit belt. Now this part of the process is a little bit hard to explain. It's almost one of those things that you just have to trial and error it when you're first starting to do them, because there's no set angle really when you're putting this onto the grinder. Let me drop one, if I can drop that down so you can see. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. So basically what I'm doing is I'm holding that on the grinder at a slight angle. So obviously that's flat, and then you just bring it out a little bit, but you don't want to just hit it right on the butt of the knife, otherwise you'll end up taking too much off there, and then you'll have an uneven sort of transition as it goes up. So it's a hard thing to try and explain, but it's just one of those things. It's just feel. After a while you get a feel for it, and you just got to touch it on there and just lean it back slightly, but also you've got to keep it straight that way as well. If you start kind of turning it one side or to the other, then you're going to take more off one side of the blade than the other. So you pretty much got to be slight angle this way, like vertical, slight angle, but on the horizontal you've got to pretty much be square to the actual platen. So we're going to start bringing it up. So we will start gradually lower down, but you don't want to come up too far, because you want the taper to kind of finish just on the edge of where your handle scales are going to go. So you can put some black on there, and then you can see how far you're going. So if you put a bit of colour on there, then you'll see as you start grinding up there, you'll see the grind marks will slowly come further up. So, but you want to finish roughly round about where your handle scales go, and then hand sanding we can sort of flatten that out. So we'll start grinding the taper, and I'll probably cut to the video once I've got halfway or whatever. rain's pouring out there now. It's absolutely tipping it down. Okay, I've got this side of the blade nicely tapered. Now this is in 36 grit. It does leave pretty coarse grind marks in there, so I will go over it with a finer, like probably finish with like a 120 grit. But as you can see, we've gone from round about here. You can just see some of the little grind marks kind of just creeping up there, but then it's nice and even all the way down to the butt, and you can see where the recess went right to the end. You can actually see now I've taken that, is that going to focus? I've taken it right to that scribe line, and it's nice and flat. So we've removed the actual recess back to a little bit of flat steel there. So just got to repeat that on the other side, and go over it with the finer grits as I said, and then we'll go to the next step, which is a little bit of hand rubbing. Yeah. Oh, wife's washing's out there, she's not going to be happy. So there we go. This is 120 grit, and you can see it's nice and even all the way along, and we've got it spot on there, just finishing where the handle scales are going to end. So nice and even on the end, you can see there. So this blade stop was 3.5mm. I think I said at the beginning it was 3.2, but it's 3.5, and we've gone down to what have we gone? We've gone down to. So we've gone down to 2mm. Is that showing up on there? I'm not sure if it is. So from 3.5 spot on to 2mm. I'm pretty pleased with that. Sometimes you kind of you nail it, and other times you don't. But if you're slightly off, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it's a handmade knife. Tapered tang could be whatever you want to go down to. If you want to go down to 1.5, you want to go down to 1.2, 1mm, doesn't matter. All you're concerned about is having this nice and flat here. Otherwise, your handle scales aren't going to fit on there nicely. So basically now I shall coat that in some engineer's blue or just a black marker pen, and go over to the flat plate and give it a hand sand. Right, so I've put some black on there, just a black marker pen, and I've got some what's that, 120 grit. Get the magnet again, and basically it's just hold that on the flat plate and just rub it backwards and forwards, and then you can see if you put any low points, high points. You can see it's coming off fairly nice and even now. So that's pretty good. Some slight little bits in there. I think that's just like the coarse grit, where it's sitting in a little bit of a coarse grit, but I can go over that again. We'll lose those. But there we go. So it's nice. The scales are going to come to around about here, so we're pretty much spot on. And once we hand sand that anyway, that will blend in nicely. So a little bit more rubbing and we're done. Let me just change my glasses over. Okie doke. So there we go. One tapered tang. So 3.5mm down to 2. So just a mild taper. So now all that we need to do is just hand sand the flats. I'll probably go over this on the grinder just quickly with a 180 grip, just to kind of blend that in a little bit, and then hand sanding, and that's around about it. So for something that's doesn't take, this is probably half an hour, I'd say, probably half an hour all up to taper that. So it's not doesn't take too long, but adds a lot to the knife. So there we go, one taper tang. What else I've got going on at the moment? I've got a few underway. I've been into making the pucos. I did one a while back, and I was really pleased the way it came out and the way it felt. So I thought I'd do a few more. So we got this one here, which is in AEBL, 3mm AEBL. I think this was West Australian Gidgee, and again the light in here is not really picking it up, but it's got some of the nice grain lines running down that sort of up and down, but you can't really see it. Still haven't changed my lights. I'll get round to doing it one day. But so we've got this 3mm blade stock, we've got orange G10 line. Is that orange? Oh, they're red. Yeah, they're red. Again, the light's not too good in here. Red G10 and 8mm brass loveless bolts. So overall, pretty pleased with this one. It's come out nice. Nice even plunge lines. Is that going to pick it up? It's not focusing, is it? There we go. I think because it's pretty actual overcast today, we're not getting much light through, coming through the door and the window there. I can actually turn on this one here. Turn this on might make a bit of a difference. There we go. That's a bit better, and I think got my film star lights. There we go. That looks a bit better. But yeah, nice. Come out nice and pleased with that one. And another puco. This one's in African Ebony, again AEBL 3mm with a saber Scandi grind. This one has got solid brass pins and black and white G10 liners. And no grind marks anywhere. Nice spine, all finished nicely all the way around. I must admit these are a little bit tricky, because you've got this, see that point there, obviously you want that nice and flat, you don't want any wobbles there or any grind marks. So to actually grind that flat without hitting the bevel, the edge there, is really tricky. You've got to pay a lot of attention while you're doing it. As you can see there, it's nice and flat, no grind marks or. So that's, yeah, you got to really concentrate when you're grinding that. But no, again, pleased with this one. I haven't polished this one. I've given it like a satin finish, which I think looks nice with the pins, with that brushed look. Puco. And this one here, Bushwood. That's a Bushwood. Again, 3mm ABL. It's I keep saying saber. Scandi grind. I've been doing a lot of sabers recently, and I think your brain just gets confused. So we've got Norwegian curly birch with brass mosaic pins, my little star pins. I think these are the actual ones in a video which I did a little while ago. When I said that the tube that I had, I don't normally do a little round tube in the middle, but this was a square box little tube. So you can see there, you can see it's square, which I think looks pretty good. I had to do a little bit of sanding on the tube to get it to fit in there, but I've got it in the end, and I think it looks pretty cool. I've still got a chamfer the lanyard tube. Still got a lump of epoxy in there, so I've got to just knock that out and chamfer it. But yeah, really pleased how this can come out. So it's 3mm Norwegian curly birch, black G10 liners, 2mm black G10 liners, nice even plunge line. Is that going to focus? Yeah, came out nice. So all these will be on the website. I'm just actually doing the leather work. There's the bushwood sheath. Just glue that one up, and the puko sheaths are gluing up as well. So once they're finished, I'll put these knives on the website. Yeah. Lastly, now I think it was the last video or the one before, and I built like a new design knife, and I hadn't actually named it, and this will make him laugh, but Mr. David Yates, he came up with a good name, and being going on like the Aussie theme with all my other knives, you know, like Dingo, Brumby, Bilby, and he came up with the cool name of a Joey, which basically baby kangaroo. So this is a new knife design. So it's similar to my Bilby, but just a lot thinner and slightly longer handle. So this one is going to be called a Joey, thanks to Mr. Yates. And handle is curly calitris. Now you have to pronounce this right. I don't want to offend anybody, but calitris. I hope I'm pronouncing it properly. But it's got a really nice curly pattern to it. You can see it going up and down. Stainless steel loveless bolts, 6mm stainless steel loveless bolts, black G10 liners, and a nice finish all the way around. Nice equal plunge lines, and overall cool little knife. Fits in your hand nice. Like they say, the handle's a little bit longer than the Bilby handle, but fits in your hand nice. You can get your finger to the tip nicely if you're doing some skinning work. So I haven't made the sheath for this yet. I've still got to draw one out. I was wondering whether to do it as a neck carry knife or a belt sheath. I'm not 100% sure yet what I'm going to do with this one, but don't know. I'll work it out. But that's that. And I've got a few others underway. Obviously, I've got the the taper tang tracker that we're working on. And I've also got a couple of these sort of big, I don't know whether you call them filleting knives. I had a customer, he dropped this one off to me, which has seen better days. You can see all the blade, all there is all hacked up and all that, and it's got like a rubber handle. I think it's like a fishing knife. But he wanted this, so I've kind of gone similar. Is that going to pick it up? I've gone similar sort of shape, but I'm going to put a nice handle on it and grind it nice and thin. It won't be mega flexy because he wants it more as a meat carving knife. But what he's ordered two, so I'll be working on those. I don't do many. Well, having said that, I've got these two kind of chef's knives, and I've got a couple of others that I'm working as well. These are orders as well. This is 26C3, also known as spicy white. Don't ask me why. But I put some clay on the top there, and once I've hand sanded it, acid etch it, you should get a nice ham-on line come up on this. This is 2mm. And I don't know why, but when you temper it, it tends to go this, like, gives it like a bluey tinge to it. Now I've did the hardness test when it was quenched in the oil, and it was at 67 HRC, so mega hard, and double tempered it down, and I'm down to, what did I get it down to? 63. I don't know if you can see it, I've written it on there. So I've got it down from 67 down to 63 HRC, but it goes this blue kind of blue tinge. Normally when you're tempering, you get like a golden colour. They call it straw. Is the optimum colour for a carbon steel heat treat, a temper. But for some reason this goes blue. I don't know why. Must be obviously something in the steel or on the steel. I don't know. But plenty of hand sanding on those, and then obviously, like I said, acid etch them, and hopefully they should look pretty cool chef's knives. So that is around about it for this video. I'm fairly busy. I'm not as busy as I was. I just think, again, I think I said in the previous video, just the way of the world at the moment. People are holding on to money, but all the orders that I've had in the last month or so, thank you very much for those. I really appreciate it, and upcoming orders that I'm building, thank you in advance for those as well. And so that's around about it. I'm going to carry on grinding, and yeah, I don't know, I'm getting a little bit chilly now, so keep working, get some body heat going. I shall see you on the next video. Stay safe out there, and thanks for watching. See ya.